Danny Balls had Trump on his show. There's a lot of B-roll in the beginning of this. I had to skip ahead just to get to the part. I have not pre-watched any of these interviews. And even though the segments themselves are 15 minutes long, the interview portion is like maybe 2/3 of the clips, because they're editing and patching holes and trying to explain what the fuck he's talking about. No doubt. We do this all the time with his stuff. Is this part one? Yes, part one. Danny Balls got an exclusive. Came down there to Mar-a-Lago, and here's you get to see a little bit of the behind the scenes, folks. These are all the people, I guess, that keep Sidney Powell off the property. That's their entire their job now. He said, "Look 21 times in 7 minutes." Yeah, because nobody will. That's his fear. Yeah, here we go. Now I have no doubt. I apologize ahead of time that some of this is going to be boring as fuck, but we'll get through it.
The library bar, just off of the living room, this beautiful.
The library bar, just off the living. This is where you got to do it. Everybody else did it in the big wedding cake.
Shortly after 1 p.m. This is an impressive estate, I got to tell you. Now, the Real America team, greeting him as you see, we sat and got right to business. The first part of our questioning focused.
Dude, are you running room audio while you're introing this shit? Does anybody work at OAN? I'm dead serious. You just rolling room audio on your B-roll. Nobody flipped that switch. Somebody's
COVID-19, the pandemic, the Biden mandates, and of course.
Yeah, dumb shit. We know. Apparently, you're already doing it in the background. Can you just roll the shit?
Take on the all now controversial COVID vaccine. Mr. President, first and foremost, thank you so much for doing this interview. It's been about.
Nice quality audio. Okay, look, I am completely off the fucking hook right now. I don't want to hear any complaints. There's little old me in my office, a man, a microphone, and a dream. And yet, here's a network with just dumb right-wing money poured into it all the time. What the fuck is happening? Are they loved? What is this?
Since we last spoke. And at that time, of course, the biggest news was the withdrawal from Afghanistan, right, and what a debacle that was.
Did you just wake this fucker up? He looks fantastic. Just ready for anything. Excited. His energy's all geared up. Let me guess, at some point he's going to be squeezing his hands together like this and leaning towards this asshole, trying to convince him that it was a rigged election. What do you think? Auditoriums. They're in the library bar. They're doing it in a small room. Yeesh.
Since then, there's been even more crises created by the Biden administration. First and foremost, I want to talk about COVID, the response your team put in place, and then once he took over, the response now. These vaccine mandates, the passports, the restrictions, the masks, all this stuff. If you were still in charge, how would you be handling this? Because
all that stuff happened while he was president. Fucking hell.
Like most Americans now, doesn't matter what side of the aisle they're on, they're fed up. We're 2 years into this now this March.
They are COVIDed out, and it's enough. And what he's done is so horrible, the way they've handled it. And they had the advantages of all of the things that we developed, and whether it was vaccines or therapeutics. I mean, the therapeutic thing.
Oh, you mean the ones that the South Koreans recognize work, like remdesivir, or the monoclonal antibodies, which have passive immune damage that they can do. And if you just get vaccinated, you don't really need them. You can save yourself the nah, fuck it.
People don't talk about them, but what they're doing now therapeutically. But the mandates are a disaster for our country. I think that's what's more than anything else, although energy is right up there with it. We were energy independent, and now we're not energy independent. We go back to OPEC, and here we go again, and that's why.
Is that what's happening? Oh, cat hair. Hold on. That was fun. Look, see this? This is tough to chip hair. Hold on. Can I I guess this is a good time since we might have time to bring us there you go. Just in case there are any maggots, that are watching, we're a year into the Biden presidency. We're well past any policies that Trump may have even signed into law as he was leaving. Anything he might have put in place a couple years ago, which he did fuck all. And look at that. And no Keystone, which is, of course, Canadian shale oil, but fuck it. Who cares if Canada, wants to use like the Line 5 pipeline to run their oil over our land through our aquifers, poison our water and our land just so they can get it closer to where they ship it out on our, and we'll play, the American taxpayer can pay the cleanup. America first. But America is now the leading liquid natural gas supplier exporter for the first time. What's that word? What's this word? What is that word? That's funny. That's weird. It's a fun word. I like that word. It's a fun word to have around. What is? This is dude is rocking a straight up like Jim Baker mid-'80s televangelist hairdo right now.
Gasoline prices are soaring at a level that they've never seen before. But
oh no, they've never seen before. Please say California $7 gas. Please do it. Because it was $11 in the same gas station in 2018 while he was president. Psst.
You mentioned right at the beginning the word Afghanistan. I just think that
the word Afghanistan, it can mean so many things to so many people. It's so poetic. You mean the name of the fucking country?
Left a stench in everybody's mind all throughout the world.
It left a stench in everybody's mind all throughout the world. Oh, quit it. Wait 1 second.
Right at the beginning, the word Afghanistan. I just think that left a stench in everybody's mind all throughout the world that is not...
What? Okay. I don't know. A stench. A man with a current loaded diaper is saying that Afghanistan left a stench that nobody can shake. You can't nobody else is talking about Afghanistan except him anymore. We're out. I don't know if you've noticed, we're out of Afghanistan. That thing we were in for 20 fucking years. Spinning our wheels for 12. That place? We're not in there anymore. And the bad people that were shooting at our soldiers and doing all kinds of nasty shit, yeah, they've spread over into Kazakhstan and other places and are giving Russia headaches and are spreading up into into Xinjiang in China and siding with the Uyghurs, who the Chinese have been murdering and giving them headaches. So the Chinese are having to deal with this, and the Russians are, but they're laughing. Right? Everybody's laughing at us for getting out of there. They're laughing so hard, they're crying. It's so hilarious that America isn't dumping $300 million a day in the desert, holding up a government that was never going to be able to stand on its own, while protecting Russia and China from their enemies within by keeping them busy shooting our people.
Removable. It's not removable. And the fake news can go and...
Wait a minute. The stench is not removable? What the fuck?
He is right up there with it. We were energy independent, and now we're not energy independent. We go back to OPEC, and here we go again, and that's why gasoline prices are soaring at a level that they've never seen before. But, you mentioned right at the beginning the word Afghanistan. I just think that left a stench in everybody's mind all throughout the world that is not removable. It's not removable. And the fake news...
No, nothing will get it out. Not Febreze. Not even a Yankee Candle. Not even the celebratory July 4th Yankee candle will get it out. Hey, hold on, I got an idea. You know what could get that stench out? Tell you what, I've had a lot of experience with this, man. Trust me on this or whatever. Here's what you do. You get some steel wool, used, doesn't matter, anything. The kind of stuff you use on a good skillet. You never want to put an iron skillet in the dishwasher. You're going to take out all the flavor out of that thing, man. You want to just hard scrub it, use a little lye. That's all you're going to do. Put it back on the stove, let it dry. That's all you can do. What you want to do, and in your case, sir, I think this will work. You're going to, Yankee Candle puts out a suppository. Now, follow me on this. I know I'm losing you, but I think you'll enjoy it or whatever. It's a normal shaped candle. It's just rounded on both ends with a wick on either side because you can just kind of flip a coin and choose it. And it's red, white, and blue striped. And when you get to blue, you get a singed butthole. But that's not important. The important thing is the stench is gone. The stench is gone. Y'all know what I'm saying.
Can go and try and pretend like it never happened and they don't talk about it.
Okay, let's pretend like it never happened. La, 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 la. I don't even remember what happened. 20 years gone like that. Shit. Oh, hi, everybody. By the way, my name's Ficus. I'm from Pikeville, Kentucky. I'm a good friend of Hal's. We went to, we were in Boy Scouts together, went to the Jamboree together. He's a good feller, lets me come on the show now and again. We obviously differ. I love this man. I love everything about him. But at the same time, we can agree to disagree about agreeing. You know what I mean? You can agree to disagree without being disagreeable. I think that's what Ruth Luther King said. Is that what her name was? The old lady with the doily on her neck.
They're fake and they're corrupt. But I will tell you, one of the things great about you and your network, you cover it like...
Oh, shit, he's bailing already. Hold on. All right, I'm back. What's great about you guys is get me the fuck out of here.
It's good or bad, but they are corrupt people, and nobody really understands why. How does it benefit us by not wanting to talk about some of the horrors? But I think it was the greatest horror and the greatest embarrassment in the history of our country. And it set the tone for all of the things that have happened since our last talk.
Yeah.
And you look at what's gone on with inflation and the economy and with...
I want to get to that. I got to stay on the vaccine.
Oh yeah. He'll get to inflation. Give me that year-over-year number, asshole. Because by spring, your year-over-year number is going to be fucked.
A little bit with Mr. President, because a lot of viewers wrote in. I put a kind of all call out to our viewers on the program. Okay. If you had questions...
Yeah. OAN and Newsmax are big on outsourcing their interview questions. What would you like to ask him? What's the best flavor of horse paste?
President, what would it be? Top 2, election integrity, we'll get to in a second. But the other one was the vaccine. Right. You recently stated in an interview with Candace Owens and when you were on the road with Bill O'Reilly doing the book tour and the speaking engagement that you've had the vaccine, 2 shots, and you've had the booster.
Right.
And you recommend it for folks. We have seen with the VAERS report, there's tens of thousands of side effects, more side effects in this vax than any vax in history.
Yeah, we've heard that it makes you babble and makes you not understand how words work and makes your hair look like shit, gives you bags under your eyes, makes you incontinent, rude, everything. Instead of losing your sense of taste and smell, everything stinks. It's like there's a stench you can't get rid of. How do you feel about that?
And more deaths. Dr. Robert Malone, 9 patents for the mRNA technology being used in the vaccines. He came on my program a couple weeks.
The MRI? You mean the PCR?
And said, unless you're over 65 and have a comorbidity, I recommend it. Other than that, I don't recommend it.
Psst. Hey, balls. You are talking to a comorbidity that plays golf. Trump's comorbidities have Trump. It's the other way around. Did he say mRNA or did he just rush through it?
He even is upset he took it himself. He's having heart issues. Looking back, we know that Warp Speed was great. You did amazing.
Oh, hold on. Oh, yeah. It was great. I mean, it was terrible, and you destroyed things. And, of course, Operation Fart Steve was awesome and really made these things happen. But now that they've happened, they're terrible, and no one should take them. That's the argument. How do you give him credit for this and then at the same time shit all over it? What is that? Operation Fart Steed was fantastic. However, by the way, look at, I mean, he's got more makeup on there probably, but what a difference a year makes, huh?
And with getting rid of red tape to get something out there. But after now so many months of the vaccine being administered and these side effects and Americans' questions of it, do you reconsider your push for it, or what's your view now on the vaccine in general?
Well, I've taken it. I've had the booster. Many politicians, I watched a couple of politicians be interviewed, and one of the questions was, did you get the booster? Because they had the vaccine. And they're answering it like, in other words, the answer is yes, but they don't want to say it. Because they're gutless. You got to say it. Whether you had it or not, say it. But
oh, okay. This is the part where he's talking about DeSantis. He's referencing what DeSantis said in this. And apparently, where is it? Ann Coulter, yeah, didn't take that too well. This is her response to him calling DeSantis gutless. Trump is demanding to know Ron DeSantis' booster status. I can now reveal it. He was a loyal booster when Trump ran in 2016, but then he learned our president was a liar and a con man whose grift was permanent. I hope that clears things up. Again, I mean, there is not enough popcorn in the world to watch these assholes chew each other to pieces.
The fact is that I think the vaccine has saved tens of millions of people throughout the world. I have had absolutely no side effects. I've had it like...
Yeah, by the way, horrible poster child for the vaccine in general. And by the way, he had the disease first and then got the vaccine. God, maybe he should have flipped it.
Other people have had it, nothing special. I've had it.
Do you feel for the millions of Americans that have it, though? There's over 100 million that haven't taken it yet, and they have questions, especially younger people with the myocarditis and things.
I don't think young, healthy people should take it. Okay. I don't think that, certainly these young kids, their immune system is so strong.
Just like he gives a fuck. But also, what's happening here? What is happening with the hair right here? I mean, it used to be perky or something, right? Didn't it used to have a lip on it and stuff? It's just, did he just take a cap off? Is that what happened? Is that what happens when he takes off his MAGA hat? And this is kind of how I don't know.
I have a son, Barron, who's 15. He had it. It lasted for about 2 seconds. Yeah. Okay. I said, "Oh, we've got it, Baron. You've got it." And like by the time we called the doctor, it was gone. You know, they have a very strong immune system.
And by the way, no, it wasn't. It took days. He forgets because he's old and stupid. Let's see. Where's didn't hear. I know I have it in here, somewhere. Baron is young and he's free. MAGA. Hold on one second. Oh, I don't know where the quote is. Where's our Hongo, Stroker, Lindell, Trump only? Let's see. Oh, maybe it's over on this one still. Hold on. I know. Pardon me while I dick around for a second. It's
I felt really good almost after taking it.
Oh, it's updating on this other thing. Rats. Because the one where he's talking about Barron is free. He's free. We have that someplace. I'll look it up and make sure I have it for next time because I know it'll come up. Barron is beautiful and he's free.
For whatever reason, stronger than even yours, and you're a young guy. But so I don't think they should be taking it at all. At the same time, I think we've saved tens. I think this would have been the Spanish flu. Without the vaccines, I think this would have been the Spanish flu of 1917, where...
Oh, motherfucker. Like, he can't say it? He can't get through one saying it. 1918. Danny Balls, you, as dumb as you are, you have to know it's 1918. 1918, you dumb son of a bitch. Like, of all these things... Like, he's been talking about it the same fucking way. Yes, 1917, drink, right. Jesus. Like, if you can't get simple details right, why would we take anything else you say seriously? All the fucking time.
100 million people died. We were losing people like left and right.
Yeah. How about the mandates,
the people, let me just say this, the people that take it, and I know some that took it, got it, but they never went to the hospital. They never got very sick. If you look at the stats, they can get it, but it's not like before. I lost 10 people, friends of mine. One of them, a big developer in New York, a great guy, Stanley Scherer, called me, said, I'm going to the hospital, I have COVID. This was before the vaccine. And he said, I'm going to the hospital, I have COVID. Very, very great guy. Very successful. He had every problem. He was heavy, he was rich, and he was old.
Comorbidities, sure.
The rich. He was very rich, he was old, and he was heavy. He had them all. And but he said,
yeah, just for the record, being rich is not a comorbidity.
Called me, he said, listen, I'll call you in a couple of days. I'm going to the hospital. I have COVID. And I called him the following day. I called him, and I said, how's he doing? He's in a coma. He's in a coma. And people forget. But I would say this, young people, I don't believe they should take it. Although, if they have some kind of a problem, diabetes, et cetera, then they probably should.
The risks from any side effects of the vaccine outweigh it to save them from COVID?
I think they should.
Okay.
But look, people that are taking the vaccine, if they get it, which isn't that often, but if they get it.
And by the way, this all vaccine talk aside, what are we actually watching here? We're watching Donald Trump go on OAN and try to walk back all of his people from a ledge. He's trying to turn around a herd of lemmings that bought into his bullshit for years. And now he can't get them to take the vaccine that he wants credit for. And this has nothing to do with the rest of the country. This has nothing to do with liberals or Democrats or progressives or independents even. This is 100% about the fact that this asshole and OAN both realize that he's killing off his own voters. And they're looking at these numbers. There's a reason why the language, they've turned a corner on how they talk about this anymore. Because they know this is getting into the area where it's going to affect the vote next year. That old people tend to vote more than young people. That's a guarantee. If you kill off a statistically significant number of old people from this disease that vote for you, you got a problem, especially if they're the ones who get the rest of their family to vote or motivate them to vote.
They're not going to hospitals for the most part and dying. Before, it was a horror.
By the way, this is exactly what Republicans are shitting on Fauci for saying right now in Congress. In all these congressional hearings, this is exactly what Fauci keeps bringing up, and this is what they're shitting on him about.
And now they're not. Now, one of the problems we have, when I was president...
By the way, Danny Balls is not buying any of this. Look at his face.
Remember this very well. There was no mandate. There was no you have to take anything. And people...
There was no anything, dum-dum. You had like a million doses. The first person to get the COVID vaccine was in the UK. You didn't have time to put a mandate in place. And the idea was you didn't really need one. What, no? Oh, we've got, thanks, by the way, for jumping in there. Oh God, just ease up. Nobody cares. Hold on. We've got somebody taking up a bunch of space. Okay. I don't care if people write stuff, but God, you're just taking so much. It's like, we get it.
Taking it. They were taking it openly and gladly. I think they don't trust the Biden administration. That's why they're not taking it.
Yeah? Oh, because they were totally gonna take it until Biden won? Is that what it was?
They have to be able to make their own choice. Freedom, we call it freedom. Yeah. There shouldn't be mandates. I think the mandates, in addition to being bad for a lot of other reasons, the economy, whether it's physical or religious or other things, I think it's killing.
Hold on. Trump. Oh.
The economy. I actually think that's why the economy is doing so badly.
Is that why the economy is doing so badly? Hi. Oh, thank you. Welcome. Thanks very much. You're welcome. That's lovely. Look at that. A refresher from Starbucks. I am going to be jacked to the bejesus belt. And the green straw is creating a very strange effect. It's magic. I'm drinking OAN. I guess my girl ran to Starbucks while, yeah. I'm going to be so ridiculously caffeinated by the end of the show. It's going to be a 9-hour show. Buckle in.
I know you've been outspoken about the mandates.
Sorry. Buckle up, strap in. I can speak. Just reading and talking at the same time is not a good idea.
In favor of no mandates.
No mandates, no.
Even the military, who takes shots to go in, I'm a veteran, but on this, where it's experimental, 8 months of testing, this should be a private choice, my belief, between the doctor and the person.
I agree.
No mandates.
No, I agree.
Yeah, except we invest millions of dollars in pilots, especially, and in engineers and other people who are in the military, and hundreds of thousands of dollars in almost every single soldier. And if we wipe out a section of our military with an easily treatable disease, by the way, none of these fuckers have had a problem. Not a single soldier has had an issue with the vaccine.
I think the mandates have been terrible, and I think they've really hurt the whole concept of the word vaccine, frankly.
I hate that it's been politicized. I bet you do too. That the whole thing with COVID,
no,
everything's been politicized. Both sides have used it.
But when we first came up with this, and don't forget, I got it done in less than 9 months. It was supposed to take 5 years, 7 years, 12 years, and they didn't think.
Yeah, it just gets longer and longer and longer. Every time he tells it, this fucking fish gets bigger.
Get it done. I was very proud of that achievement, and I still am. I'm not going to give that up. Oh, the other side would love to take that. They feel very differently than you do. You understand that. The other side...
They think it's a good thing, what I did, whereas you think it's evil. 1,300 people in the chat room. I'm amazing.
A substantial portion of people. They disagree with some of the numbers that you're given. And I would say this, we would have a world, not only a nation, we would have a world that would have tremendous death, much more than we have right now, which is a lot.
Yes, Hear that, Dan? If you were president, death everywhere. I can think of no better compliment for you and your dinner theater Rockford Files hairdo. All right. He goes to break, and then he comes back, and then there's a chunk of stuff, and then they go to the next piece.
America let a weak-minded, feeble puppet like Biden into the Oval Office.
Oh, you mean the guy who beat Trump like a rented mule?
Go to the economy, because under you, we had the strongest numbers we have seen. And now constantly the job report numbers come out.
No, we did not. Jimmy Carter created twice as many jobs in his single term than Trump did. Look it up. Twice as many. Before COVID. Not counting all the COVID, the loss of jobs when the economy shit the bed because Trump was like, it's fine, 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 it's not gonna be anything, it's fine. And by waiting until the last fucking minute, we couldn't do it in a measured way. It just had to be cut off all at once. Xi Jinping is handling this. It's fantastic. We're doing so good. The fucking economy entered a recession in February. Okay, hold on. Which February would that be? Oh, February 2020. The world's longest expansion, America's longest expansion ended. The United States economy officially entered a recession in February 2020. The committee that calls downturns announced on Monday, bringing the longest expansion record to an end as the coronavirus pandemic caused economic activity to slow sharply. And this is before we did. This is before the shutdown. The economy hit its peak in February, has since fallen to a downturn. Yeah, it hit its peak in February and then started to go down. The National Bureau of Economic Research Business Dating Committee said a recession begins when the economy reaches peak of activity and ends when it reaches its trough. This downturn is the first since 2009, when the last recession ended, and marks the end of the longest expansion in 128 months, in records dating back to 1854. The longest expansion? Oh, you mean all during Clinton, all during Obama? All right. And then 3 years of Trump. National Bureau of Economic Research, a nonprofit group that tracks economic cycles, know the unusual circumstances surrounding the slump in its announcement. The committee recognized the pandemic and the public health response have resulted in downturn with different characteristics and dynamics of prior recessions. Nonetheless, it concluded the unprecedented magnitude of the decline in employment and production and its broad reach across the entire economy warrants the designation of this episode as a recession, even if it turns out to be briefer than earlier contractions. It didn't. He made it worse all the time. Also, he sold the largest order of beef, corn, and soybeans to China in the middle of all this shit while Americans were in food lines. That's right. Remember summer of 2020? Jobs went away and people were needed to like drive out and sit in their cars for hours waiting for food. That was it. Yeah. Trump, who also believes that China struck us with a bioweapon on purpose, sold them all of our food. Because America first, apparently.
Recent ones, 199,000. When the Biden regime was expecting to see 450, 500, every job report is dismal. Yep. Unemployment's down.
It's 1 million more than was expected, and we're at 3.9%.
4.5 million folks have left the job market since November, but they come out, this administration, and brag that they're creating jobs. Now, those were jobs that sat idle that are slowly coming back. What are they doing wrong? Because you had us where we had more jobs than people.
First of all, it's the mandates.
We had more jobs than people. That's exactly what we have right now.
It's stopping people from working because they're losing their job in many cases, okay? They're losing their job and the employer can't hire anybody else. Also, they're given an incentive now. We're like a communist state. They're given an incentive not to work. They make more money if they don't because they get checks. They get money.
Dude, that's been over since the summer.
The money is being sent to them. And I'm a little surprised at one thing.
By the way, are we still getting $2,000 checks? Anybody gotten anything since the 1400? What the fuck are you talking about? UI dried up over the summer. Most of the states stopped it earlier.
I think they'd have more loyalty to companies in a way, but they're really incentivized not to go back to work. It's a terrible thing that's happening. And that's what's happening, whether it's the border or that we're going into these situations that our country's never put ourselves in this position. We have never, in my opinion, been lower as a country in terms of the thought process, in terms of what people think of us. We have never, ever been low like this. And I'm saying...
that's because he actually thinks people were impressed by his presidency. That's the 1.3 in the chat room. That's amazing. Welcome everybody. Thanks for sharing the show and liking and subscribing and all that kind of stuff. And I know this is a unique show. I don't just grab a little chunk of something, take it out of context, shit all over it, and pretend I know all of it. Like some other people do who do reaction videos. When I get into this kind of stuff, we do the whole thing. Even when it's painful.
And I'm going to say it again. It started with that horrible and stupidly implemented withdrawal. And I was all for getting out. I'm the one that got us down, Dan, to 2,500 soldiers and less. But Abdul,
Oh, God. You mean the Bardar, the guy you got out of a Pakistani jail to negotiate our exit and said, as long as you don't shoot any of our people, we'll be out by May 31st? That deal you made? P.S. You can have 5,000 of your favorite, most murderous Taliban soldiers released from a jail. We'll make the Afghans release them from prison to get ready for that day.
The Taliban respected me.
Oh, thanks.
And
thanks,
we had
LM.
talks, and I said, don't do it,
Thank
don't
you,
do it. He didn't do it. We didn't lose, as you have said, I've heard you say, 18 months we didn't lose one soldier. Not one.
We lost 64 soldiers while he was president. There were 96 dignified transfers during Trump's presidency where they brought dead soldiers home. Trump went to 4 of them. And these weren't all just Afghanistan. We lost soldiers elsewhere. There were accidents, that kind of stuff. They bring the soldiers home. Some of them we know about. Some of them we don't know about because their deaths were covert. Trump went to 4 of them. But maggots love the military, right? Oh, MAGA's all about the military. Oh, we love the military. We support our troops. First and foremost, 96. He went to 4. You know why he stopped going? Because one of the parents, the father of one of the soldiers, blamed him for that soldier's death. So he was offended and he stopped going. Hold on one second. House Parks. And then there's the rainy day in France when Trump didn't show up to honor the dead. Yeah, because it would fuck with his hair. Jesus. Again, if you support this guy, my question is why? Everything about what he's talking about is a lie. Notice since I started calling him out about the VA choice thing, he knocked that shit off. Like, I hammered that harder than anybody all last year and the year before, and finally, he stopped doing it. Sometimes he does it almost like a tick. Like, you can see he starts doing it, claiming that he did VA choice. Remember that bullshit? Which Obama signed into law? And he takes credit for it.
Soldier was killed. I said, you're not going to do it. And they didn't do it. And we would have gotten out. We would have taken every tank and every plane and every screw and every bolt. And I even said, take the hangars. Sir, should we leave the hangars? You know, the big canvas hangars. Yeah. They thought it was cheaper to leave. I said, you know what? You're taking them too. You're taking everything. And we're going to keep Bagram. And we're going to have a force at Bagram. But
yeah. Oh, that's the other thing. We're going to leave Afghanistan, but we're going to have a permanent base there. Because that's what leaving means. We're just going to play just the tip with Afghanistan forever.
Because of Afghanistan, because it's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapon.
No, it is not. They do not make their nuclear weapons in Xinjiang.
You're talking a little foreign policy.
And by the way, I don't doubt that they have nuclear silos. Maybe that's what he's talking about. But they don't have a nuclear factory out there.
Discuss that. Just the other day, Iran, a foreign adversary, pretty much put a target on you and former Secretary Pompeo's head. Shouldn't a current president come out and put some bold language towards a foe like that when they make a threat towards a former president?
If we had a president who was respected, they would have never said that. What they said is a terrible thing. But if we had a president...
Well, they didn't threaten him. Yeah, they don't seem to... They're making deals with him. Maybe they think that because of how things go over there, that treating you like shit is a way to get in good with the current dude. Because, as Iranian leaders go, that's not actually a bad play. If you're trying to make a deal with the current Iranian leader, one of the ways you could do it is, hey, that guy you ousted? Fuck that guy. That's kind of how they operate.
And remember, Soleimani killed many of our people, and many people all over the world. He's the father, he was so proud of it, the roadside bomb.
Yeah.
You'd be driving down a road, and all of a sudden, your whatever you're driving, your Humvee, your Jeep, your car, your tank, blew to smithereens, and if you didn't die, you lost your legs, you lost your arms. We had 13
Oh, you mean like Tammy Duckworth? Why don't you tip a hat to her? Huh? No?
in the attack, and if you look at it, was an attack, certainly a suicide bomber, but now it turns out they knew who the suicide bomber was, probably planned it. But we had 13 dead. What they don't talk about are the 28 soldiers that are missing legs and arms. Many more were very, very badly hurt. But Soleimani was the father of the roadside bomb.
Yeah.
And
Name one. Name one. Like, isn't this... We've all seen politicians and people who deal with these kind of things in a multitude of situations. I've seen Hillary Clinton do it dozens of times, where she'll name drop somebody. This dude could not name one of those injured soldiers. Not fucking one. I mean, dude can't name the good Republicans and the bad Republicans, right? Like, we got some good ones, and he'll like, who's the bad ones? Mitch McConnell sucks and these people. But beyond Jim Jordan and anybody else that starts with Jim, like, he can't name any of these folks. And he certainly doesn't know the name of any of the soldiers that died or were wounded.
Being a vet, Mr. President,
never brings a single one up. Never says, I spoke with the family of so-and-so, one of the soldiers who yada yada. Like, it's not that, it's fairly common when things like this happen, the presidents and former presidents, these are the kind of anecdotes. Right, but Abdul, he knows that dude. He's on a first name basis with Baradar. Jesus.
Duty and veterans would congratulate you for taking him out. He needed to go. I want to pivot real quick.
but if we had a president who was respected, they would have never made that statement.
Speak softly, carry a big stick.
Yeah.
Her stick's not as strong anymore, and his voice is weak.
He's speaking softly and carrying a big stick. Motherfucker, why didn't you come up with AUKUS? Biden is doing precisely that. Russia called him, asking for more talks. China hasn't flown over the Taiwanese airspace since October because we're circling the island with Japanese and Australian forces.
Let's talk about immigration. You brought it up. We had, and I've had experts on the show from Border Patrol to DEA, whatnot, that worked for you and 3-4 past presidents.
Great
the
people.
border was as secure as it could be under your administration.
That's right.
We
Yeah, and then you built that shitty wall, and somehow now it's easier to get through? What the fuck is that? I love how since so much of the wall was built, the border is more porous. It's easier to get through. That stupid fucking wall just made it I don't know what it was. Just made it so inviting. The slap fence.
record human sex trafficking, drug trafficking. There's more fentanyl deaths than COVID, obesity, cancer combined in 18 to 45-year-olds.
Yeah, in the year over year from April of last year, meaning that most of those months happened during Trump. Only 3 months of that entire year you're talking about, which was the biggest spike, and the deaths didn't all happen in those 3 months. They happened in the winter and the fall of the previous year. That was the biggest spike. Who was president in 2020 in the fall and in the summer? I can't remember.
It is an absolute disaster. And now every state is...
Here's all the stuff they've seized. Now they're seizing all this fentanyl. Damn it.
A border state because this administration is shipping them in the middle of the night on buses and planes and trains with our tax money. It's a disaster. And you had created something solid, and it was only getting better with the wall being built.
We had the strongest border in the history of our country. We'd never had anything like
it. Yes, thank you, COVID.
Drugs were down 50, 60%. They were going down further. They were going way down because...
No, they weren't. And it got worse during COVID, even with lower traffic coming across the border.
Drug guys were having a hard time getting in. Now they're just wheeling these big, they don't even try and cover it up anymore. They just ride right through the border.
Oh, they do? Do they? So Customs and Border Patrol has just decided, fuck America. We're not even going to stop these trucks anymore. I don't care if they end up in rural Indiana or Kansas or Kentucky or Tennessee. Fuck them, right? Good old Customs and Border Patrol. These are DEA. These are people who love our country and fought very hard but now they don't even, they're under orders to just let it through. What the fuck kind of fantasy bullshit is this? That's some of the largest seizures in their country's history that have happened in the last 6 months.
We had it down a level that hadn't been seen in years. Fentanyl, which is sort of new, but it's more vicious than all of them combined, comes out of China for the most part. They're going through Mexico because the border's no good. And with me, and I told President Xi of China, don't do it, don't send us that crap. And you know what? They had largely stopped.
They had not. Why do you think all those OD deaths happened in 2020 and into 2021? What do you think? That was old fentanyl. It didn't even kill them because it was toxic. It was spoiled. It was past the best by date.
Now they're going crazy with it. It's going through Mexico, pouring through the drug traffic.
Yes. Oh, you mean the guys that are being arrested and the stuff that's being seized? It doesn't really do your case very well when you're showing the seizures, when they're actually catching people. You know that, right? And again, this goes to him like shitting on the military, that they surrendered in Afghanistan to guys with knives, that whole story. Right now, he's shitting on Customs and Border Patrol and the DEA, going, they don't give a fuck anymore. Now that Biden's president, they don't give a fuck who dies. They hope Americans die. What are you talking about?
Is at a level that we've never seen before, 5 or 6 times up from what it was a year and a half ago.
You mean the stuff that's caught?
5 or 6 times, and it's getting much worse than that. And that's only what we know.
With that. Our families had a tragedy, so I can
imagine.
Yeah,
well, so many families.
Okay, hold on. What? 1 second. Yeah, this is what he's using. More fentanyl seized by CPB so far in 2021 than in all of 2020. Methamphetamine seizures are more slowly approaching 2020 levels. Yeah, meth managed to make its way across, mainly because you can make it in the States. But the fentanyl coming across, there you go. Customs and Border Protection seized more fentanyl so far in 2021 than all of 2020. As of April, 6,494 pounds of fentanyl were seized by authorities at the border, compared to 4,776 in all of 2020. In fact, fentanyl seizures have been increasing since 2018. We have been catching this shit. Fentanyl is an incredibly potent opioid that's 50 to 100 times stronger than morphine. People don't realize how dangerous it is. As a physician, Sutton administers fentanyl in micrograms and said that more than 6,000 pounds seized by the CBP is incomprehensible. When you talk about that amount, how many communities and people will affect, how many deaths, blah, blah, blah. Methamphetamine seizures are slowly approaching 2020 levels, according to CBP. This year, 105,032 pounds of methamphetamine have been seized in all of 2020. There were just over 177,000 pounds of meth seized. What's the drug that that they use Sudafed to make? What's that? Hold on one second. This is the what's the is it meth? Yeah, that's what you make Sudafed. You said Sudafed to make meth, right? The green Sudafed, not the regular kind now. The kind you can only get in Europe. The stuff that he's got in his drawer. So am I to guess that supposedly Sleepy Joe is more fentanyl friendly, according to him, and Trump is more meth friendly?
Young man, 26-year-old, took one pill, laced with fentanyl, didn't know it.
A relation of
yours. My best friend's kid, like my nephew. Yeah. So it really hits home for me.
All over.
And I know your administration.
When? Recently? During the last 11 months?
Before any border talk, you really attacked the opioid crisis. You were attempting to try and get it down, and the numbers were lowering.
Right.
But with this border crisis, it only seems...
No, they weren't. They've been increasing since 2018, since he started paying attention to it. That's right. Since Trump started paying attention to the issue. Hold on one second. This is woman arrested in an incident occurring May 20th. A 21-year-old Georgia pulled aside further inspection. CBP upon closer found to have a white powdery substance. Tested positive for cocaine. Authorities are just smugglers. Why is this the link? Ports. CB conducts operations on a typical day. On a typical day, authorities seize an average of 3,677 pounds of drugs from people traveling all across the country, according to the CBP. On a typical day. Why has this have been increasing since then? It's usually whether you can unmask. Let's see. As of April, 6,500. Gun ammunition season grow by 30%. Okay. These are the ones seized. They have seized a 30% increase. The idea is that somehow this is indicative not of people getting better at their job or them doing more tracking or some of the, limited ways they could bring it across, or even if Trump wanted to take credit for the wall limiting the number of places where they can actually get drugs through, it's easier to bust them when they have to drive through in vehicles and they check these things and they got better ways of checking them. And they also, of course, watch a lot of these vehicles miles and miles before they ever get to the border. But the 30% increase is in guns and drugs seized at the border. Now, the idea that Trump is presenting is that this could not possibly be because CBP and DEA are better at getting the stuff. It's just a rise in volume. The idea is that Customs and Border Patrol and DEA are just incompetent assholes and only, routinely bungle their way across a pile of drugs. It's not because they're getting better at their job or we're getting better systems for doing it, or the dogs are getting better, or they're scanning stuff. They've got robots that sniff for drugs now. None of that shit. It's not that. It's that there's got to be a lot more of it. Otherwise, you just stumble upon it. in September, what is this? In September, according to authorities, Pascal Ferrier sent letters to President Trump filled with ricin, and a few days later, she was arrested at the northern border with a firearm at the northern border. That weapon was one of 142 firearms Customs and Border Patrol officers at the northern border seized coming in out of the country this year, representing a nearly 30% increase over the number of weapons seized in 2019. Oh, just so at our northern border, just our northern border. Okay, so what's the southern border then? This is Canadians. What the fuck? This says at the border. I went seized by authority at the border, and the links on this ABC News. Your links are all over the fucking place. Yeah, this is and it goes right to this story, related. God knows why. Anyways, we'll continue.
To me, this is the new pandemic we've got to address.
So if you're not going to attack the border and the wall, which was almost finished, in 3 weeks they could have had it finished. And not only to show you the vindictive...
What kind of shitty wall doesn't function, but for 3 more weeks of work?
And the hatred and the stupidity. The wall is laying there. It was all bought. All they had to do is erect the rest of it. It would have taken 3 to 4 weeks.
Never mind the land they have to do on it is privately owned, and some of it they had marked out was actually Mexican territory. Mexico was like, fuck that, and we were going to do it anyways, and now the stuff's laying there going, well, unless the state wants to buy it, fuck it.
Took it away, moved it to a federal site, and won't let Texas or Arizona, whoever wants to use it, they say, go out and buy your own wall. They won't even give it to them. No, and think of this. That's like, what is going on here? And we have people coming in, and these aren't people that...
Well, see, they're the property of the federal government, and therefore the nation's taxpayers, not just the taxpayers of Texas and Arizona. If those guys want to do their own thing, they don't get to just appropriate all the stuff that the federal government has done. You don't get to do it with tanks and guns. Why the fuck would you be able to do it with any other materials? Yeah, so here's the legal precedent. You allow this to happen, and then Texas seizes materials for the interstate highway system to build local roads. Because fuck interstate commerce.
Maybe not. I don't know. Jails are being emptied into our country from many countries. You know, we had last week 129 different countries being represented. From all over the world, they're pouring in. It's not just Guatemala and Honduras and El Salvador, Mexico. This is now...
At least they're saying please. I think that's the good thing.
People, murders, and rapists.
Look at this woman. Murders, rapists, toddlers.
As you said, that the mainstream media is misconstrued.
Look at this. Look at this kid. Clearly let out of a maximum security. They commuted his life sentence. He's a little Ted Bundy wannabe. Look at guys. You might want to work on your story versus B-roll.
And by the way, the mainstream media doesn't even talk about it.
No.
They don't show the border.
I know.
When you have thousands of people just walk.
They're just walking across just to play basketball, apparently. The Bulls, Michael Jordan tried to get in. And the dude with I'm digging the dude with the Beijing bikini. This is from the people who were crossing, who were coming from Haiti. Most of them got turned back. They were like, we ended up on a plane. Now we're in Haiti. I don't even have a house here.
Right into our country. Many of those people are bad people. And Honduras and all of these countries that are sending their bad people, they're sending bad people. And why wouldn't they? They have prisoners.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because they're not going to put them in transports and bring them all up and dump them, because obviously we would see this as an act of war. So that means that they have to let them out right at the prison door and say, look, leave here and start going towards the United States. And if you fuck around, we're going to be very upset. Don't murder, rape, or kill until you get to the U.S. border. Promise? Sure.